The rich barely keep any money in their bank. But if you're like most people, you've got thousands sitting in there right now thinking you're being smart with money, when it's actually the opposite. In today's video, I'll show you the 4 reasons why you definitely do not want to keep over this amount in your bank. And by the end, you'll know exactly how much you should actually have in there, because it's not what you think. The first reason rich people barely keep money in their bank is because they do not want someone else making a profit off of their money. Pop quiz time. Why do you think banks let you keep your cash and your savings with them for free? It's not out of the kindness of their hearts. It's because when you keep your money in there, the banks will turn around and use your money to make themselves rich. For example, let's say you have 100K in the bank. Your bank is going to take that 100K and lend it out to someone else so they can do things like buy a house or start a business. And the bank will charge them, let's say, 7% interest rate. Meaning in the first year alone, your bank is profiting $7,000 from the 100K loan of your money. But here's the part where they might as well just slap you in the face. Big national banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, they offer you a 0.01% yield for your money. Meaning out of the $7,000 they profited from your money in the first year alone, they will turn around and give you a $10 bill for the entire year as a thank you, while keeping 99.99% of the profit. Now, to be fair, all banks do this, right? That is just the banking system in a nutshell. But some banks will actually share way more of the profits with you. The next reason is a bit sneakier because you are losing money even when you're doing everything right. Growing up, I remember my parents would keep their money in these like red plastic grocery bags from the Chinese supermarkets, and they would just stuff their money in there and just tuck it under their drawers or in their closet. They immigrated to the US, so I guess they didn't really trust the banks, and I guess it just made them feel a bit more comfortable and safe knowing that they had their physical money with them. At the time, I never really thought much about it, but now that I know more about money and personal finance, this is what I would categorize as lazy cash. Lazy cash is just cash or money or savings that's just sitting there doing nothing except losing value because of inflation. And I'd argue that most of what people are doing right now isn't much better than what my parents were doing. Because keeping your money in a checking account or with a big bank isn't really different. Remember, big banks offer a 0.01% interest rate for the money that you keep in there. Inflation averages around 3% per year, so if you had $20,000 sitting there, it would effectively have the purchasing power of about $19,400 a year later. And in 10 years, that same 20K would have the purchasing power of $14,000. The truth is, keeping your cash or your savings at a big bank or under your bed, it all basically leads to the same results. Your money is worth less and less every year. So where should you keep your lazy cash where it's put to work and actually earning you money instead of losing it for you? First, I do not recommend throwing your savings into the stock market because it needs to be safe and accessible. What I found to be the best cash strategy is to split your lazy cash and savings into multiple accounts in a very specific order. If you want to learn exactly what to do step by step and where to put your lazy cash in your savings so it's earning you as much money as possible, I'm hosting a free 4-day workshop starting on June 1st. And no, this isn't just open a high-yield savings account and call it a day. I put this workshop together because I genuinely wish that someone had shown me these strategies when I was younger. If you're interested, I'll leave the link down below where you can reserve your spot or you can scan this QR code. Again, it's completely free, but just make sure you reserve your spot before the doors close. Now, the next reason, it has nothing to do with the bank. It has everything to do with you and why a bigger checking balance literally makes you spend more money. Think about it. If you had 5 pineapple pizzas sitting on your dining table, do you think you would eat more or fewer slices of pizza compared to if you only had 2 slices sitting there? Obviously more. And the same exact concept applies to your money in your checking account. Behavioral economists call this the pain of paying. It basically explains the moment where you're like, damn, after you pay your bills and you see your bank accounts fall. But little do people know is that that flinch or that moment, that feeling, isn't really about the dollar amount. It's more about how big the drop feels compared to what you already have. For example, if you got 20K sitting in your checking account, then spending $500 on a Mr. Magic lamp barely makes you blink. It's a relatively tiny 2.5% drop in your account. But if you only had $900 in there, then buying Mr. Magic lamp feels very different, even though it is the same $500 expense. It is not just with big purchases either. Something I didn't realize at the time, but when I first started working in corporate America and I realized that I hated my job, I would cheer myself up pretty frequently with iced latte with oat milk or matcha, to treat myself and to just make me not hate my life. I didn't really think much about it because it was only a couple bucks each time, but over a year, right, all those expenses add up to an amount that I would never spend all in one go. That's why having a lean balance actually helps you save money. Because you have like less money in there, every dollar that you spend hurts a little bit more, which makes you stop and actually think. But even if you're thinking you understand all this money psychology and your brain psychology already, there's actually one more trick that your brain plays on you that even most financially savvy people fall for. The next reason why the rich do not keep big balances in their bank is because where you keep your money literally changes how your brain values it. No one likes to admit this, but you know that pile of clothes that you have sitting on a chair in your bedroom? You know the pile where it's not completely clean, but they're also not completely dirty? They're what I call in-between clothes. And you know what happens most of the time? You end up wearing the same exact hoodie 3 days in a row because it's easily accessible, it's just sitting on the chair ready for you to grab. And the same exact thing happens with your money. Money sitting in a checking account is kind of like the movie Get Out, where it's sitting in this in-between space. You haven't really committed that money to your savings or to your investments, which makes it a lot easier for you to spend it. Psychologists call this mental accounting, which basically says we treat our money differently depending on where we are storing it. For example, once you give your money a home, right, you put in your Roth IRA or you put it towards a saving fund, it suddenly feels off limits. You're way less likely to spend it because now you have to log in, you gotta transfer your account, and you gotta watch your savings go down, and that tiny bit of friction is usually enough to talk yourself out of making some impulse purchases. Meaning it's not enough to just have less money in your checking account, you actually have to assign every dollar a job and put them somewhere else. Because you don't want your cash just sitting on that laundry chair. Okay, so now you know why keeping too much money in the bank is a big mistake. So let's get back to the question on how much should you actually keep in your checking account? And this is a nuance that I don't think enough people talk about because a lot of it depends on your age and your lifestyle. If you are in your 30s or your 40s and you plan to work another 15, 20, 30, 40 years, then keeping a lot of lazy cash and savings around, and when I mean a lot, I mean more than a year or 2 years worth of your expenses, keeping it in the wrong places, such as a checking account, is actually actively hurting you because 1, you are losing money and purchasing power, and 2, it's not being put to work in the right places. So according to the Federal Reserve, the median checking account balance is about $8,000. Now this table on the screen shows how much people actually have broken up by their age groups. The median account balance for those under 35 is $5,400. And as we get older, we tend to have more in our checking account up until age 75 when it starts to go back down. And I think the data shows this because expenses are usually the highest near the end of our careers. Things like rent and our bills tend to be lower when we're younger and also when we retire. Now, a trap that I see most people fall for is if your instinct is to just keep whatever the average person keeps in their account, then you are following down a very dangerous path. Because the reality is the average person is not the greatest with their money. And I don't want you to be median, I don't want you to be average, I want you to be the exception. So here's how I like to think about how much money to keep in our checking account and our banks and how I fit it into my overall financial strategy. And it ultimately starts with how I view the purpose of the checking account. But first, I left a secret message in my last video saying if you comment "Hi Benito," then that equals 1 pet for Benito. As of the time of filming this, we only had 5 "Hi Benito" comments, so unfortunately he only gets 5 pets. Come on y'all, I think we can do a little bit better than 5, right? So in this video, the code word is this. Each comment equals 1 pet. All right, so how I view the purpose of my checking account is to basically treat it like a transitory account. Think of it like an airport, right? Planes arrive at the airport, they land, passengers board, and then the plane flies away. If all the planes are just parked at the airport permanently, then the entire airport system is gonna get backed up and stop working. The same thing happens with your checking account. Think of your checking account like this, right? The money goes in and almost immediately some of the money goes out to cover your essential expenses. And once everything is covered, any leftover money should be moved out into different places. So knowing this, how much money should you keep here? For most people, I recommend following the 1-10 rule. So basically that means you want to have 1 month's worth of your normal monthly expenses with a 10% cash buffer. The reason this extra 10% is so important is because it prevents you from accidentally overdrafting your money, it covers any potential delays with your paycheck, and also handles any unexpected smaller expenses. So let's say you just added up all your regularly monthly expenses, and you find out that you spend about $3,500 a month. 10% of that is $350, which means that you want to keep around $3,850 in your checking account at any given time. Now, personally, I like to run it on the leaner side because I like to have most of my savings in cash working for me, but also my expenses are pretty consistent month to month. So if your expenses are more varied, you might want to consider following the 2-10 rule, where it is 2 months of your expenses plus a 10% cash buffer. I don't recommend going more than 2 months because anything beyond that, then you go right back to the problem of having lazy cash, which is costing you money. So where should you put your excess savings in cash then? Well, I'm hosting a free workshop just for that. Link is in the description, and I'll show you the exact accounts to use in the exact order so your cash and savings earns money without you ever touching the stock market. If you're not interested in that, then at least make sure you follow this paycheck routine, because if you're not putting your paycheck in the right places as soon as you receive it, then you are leaving a lot of money on the table.